Our first speaker tonight is going to be Dr. Robert Eisenman. He is well known to us here at the CSULB community. He is a department chair in the Religious Studies Department. He has a PhD from Columbia University. He has a master's in Near East Studies from NYU. He has a bachelor's from Cornell University in Philosophy and Physics. He is a well-known author. He has authored The Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered, James, the Brother of Jesus, and the Dead Sea Scrolls and the First Christians. He is professor of Middle East religions and archaeology, and very noteworthy, he led the struggle to free the Dead Sea Scrolls and was a consultant for the Huntington Library in San Marino on this decision to open their archives. So without any further ado, I would request Dr. Robert Eisenman.
Do you want us to sit down here, or you want us to stand up there for our opening remarks? That's fine, okay. Well, I didn't realize I was going first. Going first is always better to respond than to set forth the discussion. So I hadn't realized that I would be the first speaker, but I don't really have anything serious to say about Jesus, because since they haven't listed under Judaism, I prefer to see myself more as a secular Western academic scholar. But I can say some things concerning how the Jews see Jesus. But I'd also like to respond a little bit to how the Muslims see Jesus and how the Christians see Jesus, because that's really my forte, all three. And that's basically what I teach here at Cal State, all three. And I want to say right from the start, I don't think the Jews have a view of Jesus at all. They don't know who he is, and Judaism is not a unified whole. There is no single form of Judaism that reigns or governs the intellectual situation. And most Jews don't read the New Testament, and they don't really have a view of Jesus. In the Talmud, which is the more orthodox version of Judaism, it's not the same for some of the more derivative Judaisms, conservative and reform. The Talmud, which is studied carefully by more orthodox Jewish people and scholars, the feeling about Jesus has been basically cut out of the documents because there was a good deal of Christian censorship in the Middle Ages. So whatever the Talmud had to say, good or bad, about Jesus disappeared in the censorship. And if they speak about Jesus, it's only through allusions. And the only thing they actually ever say about him, because they want to escape the censors, who might have them up before an inquisition or something, is Philoni, which means someone. But they never mention his name. There is one negative story about Jesus and one positive story about Jesus in the Talmud. The negative story is that he was born in the 2nd century BC, which is obviously mistaken, and that he was the son, so this is a scholar story, this is just gossip and negative chatter by people feeling badly done by, that he was the son of the bastard son of a Roman legionnaire and a mother. But that's all they know. They call him Jesus ben Pantera. And they say Pantera was a Roman legionnaire, and that's all they say. And there's nothing else about him in the whole Talmud. So that's about it as far as the religious documents of Judaism go. So there really isn't a sense about Jesus. Now, if you look at just what Jews say, well, it goes according to the whole spectrum. Some accept the Christian documents absolutely, and some are even Jews for Jesus. And then there are others who doubt his existence altogether and think of it as some fairy tale or myth or an anti-Semitic bit of propaganda. And I think that most is the majority, I think somewhere in there. And, but if you speak about the morality of Jesus, as portrayed in the New Testament, I think most Jews, because it's very much like Pharisaic rabbinic Judaism, feel that that's okay. They have nothing against the morality of what is expressed there. The problem is the anti-Semitic materials in the, which for them are in the Quran to some which I think something to do with polemic problem, because at the time here in these first remarks, the documents of the period, John the Baptist who was appointed by the Romans, and he killed John. He was afraid John was going to So, Judeo-Christian. In any case, that if you want to find out the historical Jesus, you have to find out the historical James. And this is the problem scholars have been facing for a long time. Who is the Jesus? And this quest for the historical Jesus has been going on for 200 years, even including people like the famous Albert Schweitzer. And it hasn't been solved, and scholars don't agree on it, which shows how difficult it is. But I come at it that you really have to go to this other person. And then people, particularly Muslims, say, this other person, even Christians say that. Jews, they don't even know who he is. James, the brother of Jesus, they've never heard of him. Because he's not in the scripture, at least the Muslim scripture, he's not in the Jewish scripture, and he's just a sort of vague person in Christian scripture. And my conclusion is, who and whatever James was, so was Jesus. And when you get into the James problem, which leads you to the Dead Sea Scrolls also, you find that the ethos is very Islamic. It's very apocalyptic. And the key to James is what's in the Quran too. Over and over again, Muhammad is reciting that you are saved by believing and doing good works. Believe and do good works. Over and over again. It must be repeated in the